Oh, well, yeah, you were right about that.
Okay. All right, everybody listen up real fast. Here's what's happening this week. Today we're going to work through two problems. One's got two equations and one has three equations. We solve these separately. Okay. We'll talk to them. I will actually probably, if anybody feels comfortable to do it, the second one I'm actually going to try to see if one of y'all will work through it. We'll talk to it as you work through it. And then that'll probably finish us off today. Tomorrow, we're going to look at the same thing as elimination. And kind of do that same process. We'll do a couple of problems. Thursday, we're going to have kind of a little competition here. We'll split you up into some teams, probably like 4 of them, and they're going to work the problems around the room. And here's the deal. What we're looking at is everybody's going to have a post-test in the next, looking at, I think I had it scheduled for Friday, but it's probably going to be Monday, which I know makes everybody mad, but oh well. But your post-test go to the same stuff as on that pre-test, and I want to make sure that she's got it. And a lot of you did not get it. Okay? Most of us did not get it. And so I want to make sure you've got time to hear it, but we don't want to spend too much time on it. But we are going to spend this week for sure. Okay? So as we go through this, as you have questions, there's going to be an assignment afterwards. Today, actually, I will talk to you about that in just a minute. But don't think that if you don't get it, that we're going to just completely leave you behind. I will be working with you. It may take me an extra day or so to do what I need to do. Overall for the whole unit, not just for one thing. But let's start with these, go from there, and we'll kind of see how we're doing. So first one. Solve the system, I use substitution. It's 2x plus y equals 3, and 3x minus 2y equals 8. So last period they were like, we need like word notes. And I'm like, okay, I will speak words and you can write them down.
No, it ain't how it works.
So my first step, here's what they're looking for. You are going to need to write it down and see it. So, first thing, you're trying to figure out which variable is the easiest to solve for. Okay, that is the first step, and it's the only really important step. Is you're trying to figure out which variable is the easiest to solve for. So, which one is the most by itself at this point in which equation? So that's the question I'm asking. Y in which equation? The top one. So you're looking for the easiest variable to solve for, and in this problem, it's y in the first equation. Okay. Look at the easiest variable to solve for, and get it by itself. So, in that first equation, we're going to solve for y. Okay, so how do you get y by itself in that first equation?
Subtract 2x. Subtract 2x from both sides.
So subtract 2x from both sides, so y equals 3 minus 2x. Okay, so I got y by itself in that second equation. Or, sorry, first equation. Okay. All right, so second step is you keep substituting back in substitute the equations until you found values for each variable. So in this problem now, we know what y is equal to in terms of x, but we need to get values for y and for x. And so what we're going to start out by doing is replacing the y with 3x minus 2x. 3 minus 2x, sorry. In that equation. I'll let you all for just a second. Let's be writing that down. Remember, these will be on Echo in about 10 minutes at the end of class. They'll be up there. Okay. That's really awesome. So, first step, look for the easiest variable to solve for and get it by itself. Second step, substitute back into equations what you know. So in this case, like y equals 3 minus 2x, we're going to substitute that back in until you found values for each variable. Okay? So I'm going to rewrite that second equation now. 3x minus 2 times y, which is 3 minus 2x. So I'm replacing the y with 3 minus 2x, equals 8. And so this part, all I have done is substitute it back in and put 3 minus 2x in place of y in that second equation. Okay. Alright, next step, distribute that negative 2. So 3x, negative 2 times 3 is a negative 6, negative 2 times minus 2x, a positive 4x. Okay. And y'all, this last couple steps, I'm going to combine my terms and solve for x. So I'm going to write them up here. I'm not necessarily going to talk you through them, because you should be able to do that at that point. So 3x plus 4x is 7x, minus 6 equals 8. Add 6 to both sides, and you get 7x equals 14. Divide both sides by 7, you get x equals 2. Okay, let me get y'all some points knocked off for those of y'all that keep talking. Added the 6 to the to get the x by itself. So minus 6, so I had to add a 6 yes. Yes. That's what that's the alpha one that so that's what I said I want to talk through it as a table, but I'm not going to write down. So. Everybody okay? Okay. Where? Right. Right. Hey y'all, when we get down to this part, I'm probably going to say, hey, I'm about to talk through it very quickly. So you want to watch and pay attention and then write it down. On this is a two-step equation at this point. I'm trying to get x by itself to solve for it. So all I need to do is add 6 to both sides. 8 plus 6 is 14. That way I lose that minus 6. Then the last step was I divide by the 7. So 14 divided by 7 is 2, and that's where x equals 2. So I didn't write down that I added the 6 to both sides, but at this point you should be able to figure that part out. If you can't, that's fine. I don't mind talking you through it. But start to try to get to the point where you can see that without me having to stop and show. And now that we know what value x is, since we already solved for y, that equals 3 minus 2x. We're going to plug 2 in for x there. So I'm going to take that 2 and plug it in for the x in that equation. So y equals 3 minus 2 times 2. And 3 minus 2 times 2 is negative 1. So y equals negative 1. So my solution is the point 2, negative 1. Okay. Questions? And y'all, I didn't say this at the beginning, but as we've gone through this, if this is something you have absolutely zero problem with, and on the pretest you got all the substitution problems correct, then your assignment at this point is to work into Khan Academy. But you're still responsible for knowing this. So do not just say, oh, I don't want to pay attention to do this. You're still responsible. When we do the post-test, you're still responsible for knowing that material. So you can pay attention, but if you've got it, I'm not saying you got to keep watching, but you still got to know the material. But if you know it, your job is not to sit there and do nothing. Your job is actually get on Khan Academy and work through some more stuff. Okay? You do not have permission to just sit there and do nothing. I mean, I gave the test back to everybody that was here that day. Okay, I'll look through this a minute. I was thinking I did, but I may have missed something on it. Or that was last week because of me being in and out with different things and awards assemblies. I may have missed that. Okay.
Stay out to me.
Yeah, that's not fine. Now, just remember, if you're intently staring down at your lap, I'm just going to assume you have a phone out, whether you do or not. So, I can. It may not be the best thing to do, but I can do that. Hey, Tyreek, here's what I'm telling you. Y'all are not allowed to be staring down at your lap without losing a point for agency. So don't do that. All right. Okay, y'all, the next one. The next problem, there are 3 equations and 3 variables to solve for. The process is still the same. We're going to look for the easiest variable to solve for, and then we're going to start substituting stuff back in until we have values for all of it.
Since all 3 of those exponents, they're all to simplest term. Do we need to pick which one we want to solve for, like x or y? If I want
Or z.
Would z be the hardest to solve for? Well, I'm talking about like
These actually.
Well, not like the hardest, like when you like do it last.
No, I would do that first. You have to do it first, actually.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So y'all on this one, if you had to look up there and say which variable is the easiest to solve for in which equation, which would you choose? The last one. And z is definitely the easiest because I can find the actual value of z with just doing one little thing. So what would I do to start this problem off then? Which is, how do you do that? Divide both of these things on the last equation by 4. So z equals 2. Okay? So, once you've solved for the easiest one, then it says to go and plug values back in, substitute values back in until you find all the values. So, on this one, I've got z is here and here, so let's just plug in both of those. X plus y plus 2 equals 5, and 2x minus 3y plus 2 equals negative 2. So I rewrote both of the first two equations, but instead of z, I put 2. And so now I have two equations just like we did on the first problem that we worked on. Okay. So, yeah, I'll go ahead and subtract the 2 from both sides here. So this one will be rewritten now as x plus y equals 3. And 2x minus 3y equals negative 4. So all I did there was just moved these 2's to the other side, so that way they kind of look a little bit more like the previous. If you're not talking back there, that whole conversation.
I ain't saying nothing.
I didn't say you did. My statement was that whole conversation wouldn't happen if you had been talking back there.
I'm not doing my work.
I'm getting on to him. I hadn't even messaged y'all back there. I'm just on him. Alright. Now, in purple, I've got two equations. Which one's the easiest to solve for? The top one, and does it matter which variable? No, so choose a variable. We'll solve for x or y. I heard y first, so we'll solve for y. So to do that, all I need to do is subtract the x, so the y equals 3 minus x. So if I solve for y in that first equation, it's y equals 3 minus x. If you decided that you wanted to solve for x instead, you'd have said x equals 3 minus y, or negative y plus 3.
Because when I did it, I was solving for y, and I got y equals 3x.
3 minus x.
Can I put it in, like, can I put y into the same equation?
No, you got to put it into this equation. You got to use the other equation. Okay? Now, that's a good question. If you already found what y is, it'd be a whole lot easier just to plug it in right here. Right? But you can't. You got to plug it into the equation you did not solve for. So since I solved for y here, I got to plug y into the other equation. Okay? So now I'm going to replace y with 3 minus x. So I've got 2x minus 3 times 3 minus x equals negative 4. Now I'm having to talk over a couple of people almost every time I start talking. And it's not always the same people. So let's keep our volume, to nothing. Okay, so once I found y, I plugged it back into the other equation. And so now I'm going to distribute and solve for x. And so 2x, negative 3 times 3 is a minus 9. Negative 3 times a negative x is a positive 3x equals negative 4. Okay. Next step, combine like terms. 2x plus 3x is what? 5x. Okay, and then to get x by itself, I'm going to start by adding the 9. That gets rid of that minus 9. So 5x equals 5. And then, of course, I need to divide by 5, so x equals 1. Alright, so what's my solution? What's my solution to this system? Yeah, all I've found at this point is X and Z. I still got to find Y.
Can you plug it back into the x plus y plus z equals 5?
No reason to. I know what X is. I'm going to plug in right there and find Y. I'm going to go back and find the easiest place to plug it into. And so Y is equal to 3 minus 1. So Y is also equal to 2. So my solution is X, Y, Z, which is 1, 2, 2. And when you're putting these in an ordered pair, or in this case, an ordered triple, you always put them in alphabetical order. So it's always X, Y, Z, or A, B, C, or D, E, F, or whatever the values are, variables are, you put them in order. Yeah, alphabetical. Okay. Questions on that problem?
The only place I messed up, whenever I did the negative 3 times 3, I put a 6.
Okay, so here is my expectation for you at this moment. On the agenda, where it says homework, it actually has the problems posted. Your homework, it says it's problems 25 through 46. Now listen, everybody, just listen. Stop the whole what stuff and listen. You must complete these problems, 31, 33, and 42. Those 3 problems are due tomorrow when you come to class. You have 10 minutes right now. Okay? The rest are due on Thursday, and the rest, y'all, is the agency part. This is what I told y'all about when we started talking about this at the end of last semester. If you understand it completely after doing 31, 33, and 42, then you're done. I'm not requiring you the rest of it. If you do not, then you have to practice. And to do that, you need to finish the rest of those by Thursday. Okay? I'm going to give 1 grade on it. Okay? You need to make sure you do as many as you need to do, but you must do 31, 33, and 42 by tomorrow. Okay? If you do not have a computer, those 3 problems are up on the board right now. You need to copy them down.
I've already done my scores. Okay, if I have y equals 3x minus x, and I have to multiply negative 1.
Sorry, I'm having to check on my daughter. Okay, say it again.
Okay, so I have negative 5 equals 3x with 3 minus x. Would I have to